What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the next percents to the Alphaflys.
Stay down with the game.
I got no time for the drama, but they won't talk on my name now. Enemies wanna be friends with me. No, there ain't no way now. Boy, you should've just stayed down. No, there ain't no way now. I just be in my own lane now.
Alright guys, you heard me correctly. We're going to be comparing the next percent 2s to the Alphaflys. I have so much stuff to tell you guys about these shoes, and I'm super excited to make a video about these shoes. Now these shoes might look brand new, that's because they are. I haven't done any runs in them yet, but I did have an older pair of Alphaflys that I got about 2 years ago, and I have over 100 miles in those shoes, or I had over 100 miles in those shoes, so I do know a lot about the Alphaflys. And I also do have a lot of miles in these shoes, so I can tell you guys a lot about both of these shoes and kind of help you compare to see which one's better and see which ones you should get. So I think we're just going to dive right into it, and first things first, you got to start off with the price. $275 is how much these cost right when they release from the Nike's website, and these are at $25 cheaper. It's pretty crazy because when Nike released these shoes, they released a super limited amount that it actually took me 2 different tries to get the shoe. I had to wait like an extra 3 or 4 months to get them after that, and it was still pretty hard for me to get them. I know a lot of people still didn't get them the second time around. Now the reason that this shoe has so much hype behind it is because of the story of this shoe and the history of the shoe. This was the exact model that Eliud Kipchoge broke the 2-hour marathon in, I think a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, but it was pretty crazy seeing him. Now it was a different colorway, but the same exact model. So with that being said, there was so much hype around the shoe that at the time I wouldn't have been surprised if, you know, they released these shoes for $500 or more. Because I remember the first time they released the shoe, people would buy it and they would actually screenshot that they actually got it, and they would sell it on eBay for like $1,200, which is pretty crazy. That just goes to show the hype behind this in the running community. Now this shoe has a little bit less hype, but it's still a very popular shoe among runners. Probably the most popular shoe among runners right now. You know, we just had a couple major marathons, the Berlin Marathon, the London Marathon. We also had the Boston and the Chicago Marathon, and almost 90% of all the elite athletes were wearing these shoes, especially all of the elite Nike athletes. They were wearing these shoes over the Alphaflys, and these shoes definitely do a better job of keeping your feet comfortable and just helping your feet recover after a super long run. So I think that's one of the reasons that they wore these shoes, and these shoes might be a little bit more responsive for the slower distances. Now, I'm not saying that all of these guys are running slow, because obviously they're running super fast in the marathon pace, but for these athletes, the marathon is the longest race to do, so it's going to be the slowest pace. This shoe is almost perfectly made for that marathon effort with all of these runners that are running in them. So that is probably the main reason that you guys didn't see a lot of people wearing these shoes in the last couple of marathons. So I do want to tell you guys some of the specs that these shoes have. The Alphaflys on my left right here have a 8mm heel drop, and then the next percents on my right have a 4mm heel drop, which is pretty crazy because these have double the amount that these have, but you barely notice them on the road. They both feel super comfortable, and there's not a big drastic difference. Both of these shoes feature a full-length carbon fiber plate along with Nike Zoom X, which is super lightweight material that doesn't last very long, but is super responsive, which is what these shoes are made for. Now the biggest difference about these shoes, the biggest difference, is that these shoes, the Alphaflys, have 2 air pockets on the forefoot of the shoe, as where the next percents have none. I think that's one of the reasons that I like the Alphaflys a little bit more than the next percents, is because the air pockets make it feel super responsive, and it's a super aggressive shoe. That's why I like running in these shoes a little bit more than these shoes, because these shoes are great for long runs. They help your feet recover, but these shoes are for the tempos and, really hard aggressive workouts on a flat surface. The Alphaflys feature a built-in tongue, which is one of the reasons I think these are the most comfortable racing shoes I've ever ran in. I really like built-in tongues, and the next percents, they don't have a built-in tongue. They have a normal tongue, which does have some pros and does have some cons. I'll show you guys a tongue. It kind of has a V shape that wraps around your ankle, which Nike started doing that a little while ago, but it's also very comfortable, just not as comfortable as the Alphaflys. One of the reasons that these shoes are probably better for, cross-country running or cross-country workouts or something like that is because the actual tongue wraps around your foot and it keeps your foot super secure. So when you're doing a turn, like a real sharp 90-degree turn or a 180-degree turn, these shoes are very good for that job. Your feet never come out. They're super secure. But if you're in these shoes and did a really sharp turn, it'd be very hard. One, because they're so high and it's hard to do a U-turn in them, and the second is the built-in tongue. Your foot kind of slips out and you can roll your ankle pretty easily. So yeah, me personally, I would definitely choose the Alphaflys over the next percents anytime. That's because I'm only racing distances up to like 5K and maybe 10K at most. Now that I think about it, for a 10K, it'd probably be a coin toss between these shoes, but I might go with the Alphaflys, but I might also go with the next percents. I guess we'll never know until I actually run a 10K. As you can tell, both of these shoes have a super pointed back. I think the number one reason for that is just cool looks, but it's also supposed to help with the aerodynamics of shoes. I'm not sure if it's the best way that they can do it, but I know a lot of other shoe companies have been doing things like this, but I'm not sure if this is the exact best way to do it to help with the aerodynamic, if that makes sense. And then as you can see, the tread on these shoes are very different. For these shoes, you can actually see the carbon fiber plate right there, but the tread on the Alphaflys Alphaflies are a lot better than the tread on the Next Percents. Honestly, the tread on the Alphaflies are so aggressive that you probably don't even need it. I think the Next Percents do a fine job, especially since you're already running on flat surfaces. These have good enough tread that you don't need anything better, but the tread on the Alphaflies is at a whole nother level. They have a bunch of different designs on the bottom of the shoe that are supposed to help these shoes grip to the ground a lot better than the Next Percents. On the inside of the shoe, as you can see, there's a heel cup that wraps around your heel, and the first time that the Next Percents came out, the Next Percent 1s, I did a workout on the treadmill. You can actually find that in my intro. There's a clip of me in my intro doing a workout in those shoes, but the heel cups in those shoes gave me a huge blister, and every time I wore the shoes I got a huge blister. But the Next Percent 2s, which is what these are, I wear them all the time and I never get blisters. They updated the foam on the back that they use for that heel cup, and it feels a lot better than the Next Percent 1s. Now the last thing that I can think of is the weight of the shoes. When I pick up these shoes and hold them, I feel like these shoes are the lightest shoes in the world, but it's actually pretty funny because these shoes are a little bit lighter than the Alphaflies right here. I think one of the reasons that I expect these to be heavier than these is because the mass of these is actually bigger than the mass of these, but they're still heavier than the Next Percents, which is pretty crazy. It's pretty mind-boggling. If you guys have never held a pair of these shoes, if you ever get the chance to, make sure you hold them because they're going to be a lot lighter than you expect. It's pretty insane, to be honest. So yeah, that was everything that I wanted to tell you guys about both of these shoes. I can't make the decision for you guys. You got to take all of these things into perspective, and you probably could go to a running store, try the shoes on, maybe take them home and do a workout on the treadmill in them. Don't get them dirty because you probably won't be able to take these shoes back, depending on where you get them. But just try them on, see which ones you like better. I really do hope I helped you guys with this video, narrow down which ones you like more and get you in the right direction. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video about the Alphaflies and the Next Percents. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and stay blessed. Peace.